So this week's episode of Fruits Basket, we get introduced to Hiro, who I also was hearing some mixed things about, and walking in and out of this episode, I feel quite comfortable with this character overall and how they portrayed a young boy, especially one who is associated with the Zodiac curse. I thought it was done exceptionally well. Something I do have to say though, between just Agito as well as the rest of the family, the clan, how messed up and just destroyed must your mind be that when you hear a little boy loves a little girl, you feel so afraid that that means they will no longer need you, that you beat a little girl black and blue to the point that said little boy has to distance himself in fear that the person that he cares for will get hurt because of his own feelings. It really does say a lot about Akito and how messed up they must be, because how could you do that, especially to such young and innocent kids? It's quite messed up, but as is the curse with the Soma clan overall. Something I've noticed in media in general, this doesn't just affect the anime, the manga community, it's just people in general, it's a mass opinion. Anytime a character does something to make a viewer or a reader feel uncomfortable, or basically any emotion that isn't happy, will typically be viewed as a bad character. But bad writing isn't if a character makes you upset. Bad writing is bad writing. Is it just a poorly written character? And did they do something stupid for no potential reason? Here we see a little boy who is very awkward with his feelings, and, he's a little boy. Little boys, especially at this age, I believe he's in 6th grade, we're kind of assholes at that time of our lives. It's kind of how it is. There's a period of time where little boys are cute and adorable, and then puberty and emotions start kicking in and we're little assholes and devils. That's just how it is. And I think the way they portrayed someone who was very confused about feelings, and especially once you learn why he distanced himself and also is kind of lashing out because he can't lash out at the person who he's actually angry with, you really feel like they wrote a little boy in probably the most realistic way I can recall in quite some time, maybe even ever for anime, because that's how a little boy would react in a situation. And that's not bad writing. He made me upset, he made me annoyed, because most kids his age, especially boys his age, will make you upset. And that's why so many parents get so annoyed, especially for kids this age, because they just are little devils. However, that's emotions for you, and especially puberty. And I thought they actually did a remarkable job at making Hiro someone who did annoy you like a little boy would, but he had really believable reasons because of puberty, and especially because of what Akito did to Kisa, basically the past, and why he's so distant now. I think it's just such an awkward time in a kid's life, especially for one who wants to be a part of this girl's life, but is just confused with emotions, feeling like, is he not supposed to like her? Why did she get hurt when he admitted his feelings? Why is the clan head doing this? It's such a awkward and painful time. On one hand, you have this very realistic approach on how just kids his age would respond, kind of push back, act like he doesn't care, but then also because he can't lash out at the person he wants to, he takes it out on someone as precious as Toru. It's something that just naturally makes sense, but then when you learn about the curse and what ultimately happened when he admitted his love, it's like, holy shit, what a poor boy. And then by the end of the episode, when you see how happy he is, he's a little asshole. It's kind of how he is. That's how kids, how I was. It's just like, you push back and you don't want to show your true emotions at that age. But deep down they are more than just that bratty kid, and the fact that he can admit that he is a kid, like Toru's mom said, that's incredibly brave. And I think that's why I like this character so much. He is such a different contrast to what we've seen up till now. All the characters at some point in time, besides Agito of course, has liked Toru, and I think it was so interesting that an introduction was very much pushing against someone, and I thought it was a refreshing take, because up till now it's been characters smiling and shaking hands, hugging Toru, embracing who she was, even if they were trying to manipulate her under the hood. But then you have this little boy who is immediately pushing her back, stealing her wallet, just acting like a brat. And it was a refreshing take to introduce one of the Zodiacs in this way. It was very believable, which is why it was so infuriating at multiple points throughout this episode. But I think that pushing back, talking back, being a smartass, that's how a kid his age should respond for a majority of kids growing up, and even worse for someone who is cursed with the Zodiac. And I think that was what was so great about it. You knew he loved her. You knew that he had these emotions, but he didn't know how to show them. And then once you see just what ultimately happened when he admitted those feelings, it's quite tragic to see what's happening happen, but similar to all the Zodiacs up till now, Toru has a way with what she will say. It's not like she's this like knight in shining armor. She just has so much trauma herself, and because she loves someone like her mother so much, she really is taking her lessons to heart because she's no longer around, so what she was taught before she passed away is something that she has to carry through with her for her entire life, and because of those life lessons, very troubled people that are cursed with the Zodiacs really get to see Toru as basically a beacon of hope that they can take comfort in and really showcase kind of a sense of security that they don't get to have at their own home. Hell, you can't even show your love and affection to someone unless you're outside of the premise where Akito lives. Like, it's very messed up, and that's why I love Fruits Basket so much. It has such a realistic and human approach to character dynamics, just one and done personalities, and it feels like it knows what humans are at the end of the day, and it showcases the annoyance of humanity, the pros, the cons, everything that makes human interaction what it is, whether it be a little boy and his brattiness to just a broken mentality, someone like Yuki. It's so interesting how Fruits Basket has such a layered cast, where it so far has hit pretty much everything I would expect if you're trying to go for both male, female, young, and old. It just feels like they kind of have hit everything they've needed to, and we still have a couple of characters left to be introduced to, and I'm excited to see just ultimately, once we have all the characters revealed, obviously I know we're not getting them all within this season, but it will be interesting for sure, especially with the second season of Fruits Basket, where they will really go once all the personalities have been met, and what Akito will do to Toru, because we see that this is a person who is not afraid of attacking, beating, verbally abusing. It's someone who is going to make Toru's life a living hell, and it'll be interesting to see, because of what Toru has done up to this point, would that be enough for them to stand up for Toru and go against the wills of the clan leader they so desperately are afraid of? You have someone like Shigure who is very much trying to manipulate Toru in his own way, but it's interesting how it just feels like such a toxic clan. And then you have someone who is so emotionally broken and distraught that she somehow is mending the hearts without even realizing how much she needs to be mended herself, and that's what's so interesting about it. Something I do want to make a quick mention of, and I'm only going to make a quick mention of this one time because I don't even think I've seen this from people who haven't commented before, but I had like 3 to 5 people when we had the Kisa episode a couple weeks back who tried to tell me it's pronounced Kisa, not Kissa. I've known 3 Kisas throughout my life. I currently know one right now, and I've known 2 others throughout high school as well as college. I say it Kissa because that's how it's pronounced around me. It's the same reason why a majority of anime fans, they say anime and not anime, like it's pronounced in Japan. Different places, different cultures will have different enunciation and pronunciation. There's no correct way to say names. It's why if you give a Japanese person my name, Brandon, they're not going to say it like I do and a majority of the people watching these reviews. I appreciate the fact that some people wanted to tell me how it may be pronounced throughout the anime or around in Japan's area. That's not how I personally say it. I'm going to say it the same way I've said it always surrounding people that I've known. It's just how I'm going to say it. Apologize if it annoys you, but that's how I'm going to say it. I just want to make a quick mention of that because I'm going to keep saying Kissa, and for the recurring viewers, that's how I'm going to pronounce it because it's how I currently know people with that name. Just wanted to throw that out there. But I do have to say, Kissa in this episode, I love this girl. I think she might even be my favorite character right now. Like next to Toru, of course. Toru's top tier favorite character, but Kissa might be number 2 for me right now. It's so sweet and adorable how far she's come in such a short amount of time. And it's even more sad when you realize she became this way because her closest friend, the person who she loves and cherishes, started distancing himself from her, and it's because she was beaten by Akito. It's like, it's so messed up and just twisted, and I kind of love, but I also hate it all at the same time, because if it wasn't so twisted, it wouldn't be nearly as gripping as it currently is. But just seeing that adorableness of her going over to watch anime with Toru, and then when that first kicked off, I actually thought I was watching the wrong anime, because I was like, this doesn't look like Fruits Basket, and then you see they're watching anime, I was like, okay. It's not the first time I've had that kind of, I was like, okay, this doesn't look like the anime I'm watching, but it's something that did make me laugh. And then to just see how it kind of connected to this little boy who wanted to watch it with her, but didn't know how to actually admit his feelings. It's just such realistic, childlike banter, such awkward emotions, and I love that. And how she reveals her voice, it just sounds like such a shaken, but also a very proud girl. I just love the voice acting for her overall. It really feels like someone bringing their A game and making it feel like someone who's been emotionally abused and shattered, but now is starting to take comfort in someone like Toru, is able to walk a line that she's starting to feel proud with herself and how she stood up for Toru, big sister Toru. It just melts your heart, and like Toru, you hug her, you see these hearts float in the air, you just feel so proud and adorable. It's such a just cute dynamic overall. It's even cuter when you see how both of these kids interact with one another. It's such wholesome innocence, and it's just like that's how characters their age act, and I just love it overall. I ate it up. I thought it was such adorableness, even though I was also fuming with rage realizing what happened to her between the head of the family. I'm just like, how could you do this? But if you didn't do this, I wouldn't be so attached to the idea that we have to break this curse one way or another. We've been introduced to so many characters at this point in time, but even though a majority of series that would introduce this many characters, they would fail quite a bit because there'd be too many characters and not enough time to get to a personal kind of connection to them. But it feels as if Fruits Basket's doing an exceptional job at really making us care for everyone and feeling as if we're getting to open up to this cast as a whole at a steady enough pace that it feels like it's okay to take things slow, it's okay to take things fast, and when we don't see a character for a while, it's not like we're like, okay, we forgot about them, as if they're real people. They have their own lives, and they're not always going to be around Toru unless they live in the Soma house that she currently does. And that's what I love. It really does feel like genuine relationships, both with how the characters act with one another, how they may not see each other for a little bit. It just feels like real life surrounded by so much anime mystery and just wonders that it really does kind of capture you, and you understand why this has been such a popular manga for so many years, and you can really tell the passion being put into this project. I absolutely adore this episode. Every character is just good. Every character I meet, I'm interested in one way or another, and I'm interested to hear, what did everyone think? For either manga readers or anime originals like myself, what did you think of the introduction to Hiro and just how they portrayed this little boy very awkward with his emotion, and how mad were you when you learned what happened to Kisa in this episode? Let me know down in the comment section below. If you did enjoy this video though, be sure to drop a like and also hit that subscribe button if you have been new. So until next time everyone, please take care and have a good one.